Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. We say they listen. A workshop on counteracting fake news and disinformation is currently taking place in Trinidad and Tobago thanks to the U.S. Embassy. Joining us this morning in studio is Deirdre Leakin, Chief Operations Officer at Dingole Limited, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, and Gordon Mosley, Founder and Managing Director of News Source Guyana. Good morning to both of you. Welcome.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you on this early morning. And I know, of course, that you are both highly engaged in this workshop, which is something we need to talk about because fake news, it's something that we hear everybody speak at some point in time. There's one person who made the phrase particularly famous, but we'll leave that person for now. Why did you decide that now is a good idea to have this, Deirdre?
I think because I work in so many different areas and we've been seeing a rise with people not being able to understand, even as we do projects, what is the correct information. As simple as the date of something. One person will say it's on a Wednesday, but it's actually on a Friday. And then they can't figure out how to search to find the correct way to find the right information. And I thought just these tiny things could create these little ripples. So then we have big areas. During the pandemic, we had so much information being released and nobody knew how to check. They couldn't figure out how to find the right information. And it was causing a lot of really negative impact on the community, on mental health, on daily life. So I thought, this is a great chance because the embassy had the opportunity to execute a project like this.
It is absolutely fantastic because misinformation is such an issue, as you said. I mean, we think about fake news in, I dare say, a box, but it just expands so much further than that and trickles down into our communities, which is why it's so important. So it's great to see that social initiative taking place as well, which I know you do have some insight on. So we'll talk about that in a few moments. But for now, Gordon, you are with us from Guyana. I can't say all the way from Guyana because you're literally right there, just a hop across the water. But share with us a little bit about News Source and also what your role is in this workshop.
Well, News Source is an online news entity that got started 10 years ago. September will make my 25th year in the media in Guyana. So I started News Source when I came off of television news. Started off as an online format, but now we have a television component also. And generally, I started that because I realized there was a need to engage young people more in the news. They'll take the tidbits, but they don't pay much attention to the real big stories. And that is how I got started, and so I've been doing well with that so far. I got engaged with the workshop because, like Deirdre said, there is a need to counteract fake news, and especially when you're involved in the media, it's important to always get it right. I think now more than ever, in today's media landscape, we're seeing more and more persons get involved in citizen journalism. Everyone with a cell phone thinks they're a journalist. So what that does is give us, as media practitioners, that added responsibility to get it right. And so one of the things we've been doing over the past day is that we've been engaging with young persons and older ones too, who are preparing to enter the media landscape. These are the do's and don'ts. We don't want radio announcers or DJs on the radio breaking news and not fact-checking, not checking with the newsroom about whether something is correct, because it could be embarrassing, but it could also lead to various issues in the society. So through the U.S. Embassy and that partnership, it's important to do workshops like these. And so we complete the one in Trinidad tomorrow, and then we move to Guyana, and we do it all over again to Guyanese participants, to a Guyanese audience, because like Trinidad, we have some of the same issues we face in the media landscape. It is growing, it is fast, and so we need to rein it in at times.
We definitely do. I also appreciate the fact that you mentioned citizen journalism, which has definitely, of course, come on the rise with social media now many times. And, this is something I always talk about. Now, I can open my WhatsApp and I'll find out what's going on before we actually get it in the newsroom. And that's where we see so many differences in the story, which can lead to that misinformation. Now, just listening to you both this morning as to what this workshop offers, I'm also getting touches of doing that investigation and also practicing good ethics. Are those things that you would say are encompassed in the workshop itself when it comes to journalism?
Yes, definitely. We have great facilitators. We have Anil Siratan as well as Ryan Bechu, who are two well-known, very experienced journalists. So what they've done is they've actually incorporated a lot of journalism resources and tools into the workshop, teaching you how to incorporate ethics as well as morals, as well as the actual academic and theoretical part of research. So I think it's well designed to give you the full sense and the full set of tools to be able to do the right thing and find the right information to share.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure, so you were there yesterday,
Yes,
you were
I was.
able to see some of it. And what was the feedback from the participants?
It was very engaging. And that's what I came away with yesterday, is that they want to know more. We had a young DJ who was part of the workshop, and he was learning new things. This is what you should do before you go out there and put information out there. Because in today's media landscape, in some instances, DJs and other radio personalities who do not necessarily have a news background do not think that they have to follow the same rules as journalists, but they're speaking to sometimes an even bigger audience. And that is why it's important for media houses to also have policies in place. How do you break news? Are you going to allow a DJ to break a story? So issues like that were covered in the workshop, and they were very engaging on those issues.
That is integral because, as you said, sometimes, for example, using DJs, they definitely do have a vast reach. And we realize that sometimes we do see some misinformation being spread or maybe not being delivered in the best way. I know we hear a lot of people talk about, you know, is there going to be more training available? So this is a fantastic opportunity that you have offered. Now, I know that it's already started. You're going to be moving to Guyana. Is there a possibility that this may happen again for those who may be interested?
So one of the components of the actual project is that we will be doing 5 masterclasses that match the actual live workshop that will be released online. So it will be accessible.
Great.
We have partners. We've partnered with Star Broadcasting. So he will have access, that radio, that organization will have access to the videos to share, because he has been training he's been doing some really good work, creating good opportunities for a lot of people who have been interested in jobs like yours.
100%.
And one of the things we identified in the workshop yesterday was said by several people is that when they do the courses, they're not being taught how to do the journalistic part, which is what we're now offering. So I think it's opened up areas for us to be able to add those components to those courses that are being offered.
Now, when you say we, I know you're speaking of the U.S. Embassy, but you're also talking about where you sit within the embassy's umbrella. Can you share with us what that is?
So I am a YLI alumni, Young Leaders of the Americas Initiative alumni. And once you do a U.S. Embassy exchange program, you become a part of the U.S. Embassy family.
Okay.
So you have access to resources to be able to execute projects like this. So when we see gaps in the society, in the community, we can go and say, you know, we have these ideas for projects. They have different grant funding that comes up. It's always available on their social media, on their website. So I'm very involved in the community work that the U.S. Embassy does. Also, I'm one of the Entrepreneurship Hub directors, which is the e-hub for the U.S. Embassy. So I think I have been fortunate to be able to sit in a position where I can see the gaps and be able to offer the resources to fill those gaps.
100%. Can you share with us social media handles for those who are interested in following and learning more?
Sure. So you can look at US in TT, or you can go to AWE Trinbago, and you'll find all the information for all the projects that I'm connected to.
Wonderful. And for you as well, US and TT, but also Guyana, share with us.
We're using the same handle
All
as she
right.
is, so
Yeah.
it's well, the project is
Wonderful.
based there.
So thank you so much, both of you, for being with us this morning on the show. It's been a pleasure. Looking forward to seeing more initiatives like this in Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana and the region on a whole, because once we start with the younger ones, eventually we can hopefully eliminate most of it. Deirdre Leakin and Gordon, thank you so much for being with us on the Now Morning Show. You all stay tuned. There's more coming up after this.
Cause the 1% controlling 100% of the lives of the